welcome to Crank It Up. I'm Jim Price, and today I want to talk about the cards in Smash Up that I think are most benefiting from the Titans event kit. Titans were introduced in the Big in Japan expansion, so they've been in the game for 2 expansions to date, but there were only 4 Titans. With the additional 16, they became much more prevalent, and I was curious to see how this affected Smash Up cards at large. In software engineering, we have the concept of future-proofing, which is designing something that is insulated against major changes in the future and can easily integrate them. With a card text game, this is really hard to do, and most cards weren't affected, but some were, either directly or indirectly. The purpose of this video is to rank what I feel are the 10 cards that gain new relevance with more Titans, ranked by how much they improve compared to what they did before. The list was really hard to order because some only apply to specific situations. Also, the idea of indirectly benefiting from a Titan is a very interesting topic, which you'll see with some examples. You'll note that some cards in the post-Big in Japan era were designed with Titans in mind, and I have to evaluate those based on how much those abilities improved with even more Titans, making them less esoteric. Before we get to the list, I have one honorable mention: the Ensign. The Ensign states that when an opponent plays a card that directly affects one of your other minions here, the Ensign can take the phaser instead. While this card is currently set up to work with Titans, there isn't a match at this time because you would need a Titan with an on-play ability or a weirdly worded ongoing ability, which don't exist, but should one exist in the future, the Ensign is ready to die. Number 10 is Qpoint, which is a bit of an abnormality because it's a base, which isn't owned by a player. The idea of a base getting more powerful doesn't always make sense, but I like the opportunities that Titans create on this base because they would survive the destruction. As more players have Titans that give power, players have new ways to compete on this base, and I think that's a good thing. Note that the mere Titan presence is not enough, as you would need the Titan to have some power if you have no minions or actions with power. More than half of the Titans have the potential to give you power on Qpoint, though I'm not including Dagon because you would need a minion to activate the ability, which removes the need for minimum power anyway. Number 9 is No Moon, the other base on this list. Because No Moon can blow up an entire base, the Titan goes with it. The only problem is that you have no control over which base will bite the bullet. Still, if you're playing a 2-player game with a 50-50 shot of taking out the Cream Puff Man, I'm liking those odds. Number 8 is a category of actions that all roughly do the same thing: the base replacement actions Terraforming, Not in Kansas, and Burn It Down. I had to think about where to place these actions in the list because they were already really powerful. But for what they do now, in terms of taking out a Titan, this is a pretty messy way to do it. You might take out your own Titan in doing so, which you probably don't want, and you aren't always guaranteed that the next base might be better. There are other cards that do a better job of eliminating Titans that benefit significantly more, which is why these are ranked lower than you might expect. Number 7 is my first card to indirectly benefit from Titans, and it's a card that continually lets me down: Polar Commando. The Bear Cavalry really don't have the means alone to make this minion win a base with its ability intact, but a Titan is not a minion. Therefore, you could have a power counter based Titan on the base, which would be supplemented well by the Polar Commando and give it purpose. Because it only has 2 power, the increase isn't as significant, but it breathes new life into a card I rarely play. Number 6 is Purge the Demon. This card definitely was created with the Titans in mind, but it might be used as more of a disenchant. Actions rarely have power counters on them, and why remove power counters from minions when you can steal them? However, Purge the Demon works as a great reset button to Titans. If you can't remove them from the board, you can at least remove all of their power, and this is what Purge the Demon does. The Remove All Counters clause gains significant meaning with more Titans, separating this card further from its disenchant parentage. Number 5 might be the most controversial spot on this list because it's another card indirectly affected by Titans. The improvement is subtle, yet critical, and that is Argonaut. Argonaut's ability allows him to be played any time you can play an action. Why is this important? Because a number of Titans require you to sacrifice your normal minion play to play the Titan, and often on bases with no minions. This leaves them defenseless and can invite a Titan clash you're going to lose. You can play the Titan using your minion play, then play the Argonaut as your action to guard it. The presence of an Argonaut can help prevent clashes before they happen and prevent you from losing a turn. That loss of half a turn is actually quite significant, which is why I rank the Argonaut so highly. Number 4 is They Say He's Got to Go. This card has one simple job: to move a Titan. As the Kaiju player, you can move Gorgonzola to another base. But what if you don't want to move Gorgonzola? This card derives the rest of its value on having other Titans to move, which the event kits provide. You can create more clashes by moving Titans into your base or by moving your Titan to another. You could also just move for the sake of movement, taking a Titan with a lot of power counters and situating it on a base to break it. Alternatively, you can move an opponent Titan to a base where you are already winning to finish that base off and make them lose all their hard work for that Titan. Number 3 is Expert Timing. This is a versatile action that can turn your power counter Titan into a battery. You can build up many power counters on one base, then move them all over to a different card. Some of the event kit Titans will build up a lot of power over the course of the game, and Expert Timing can target them. Expert Timing is also a bop, and playing it before a base scores can create some massive swings. Best of all, you can use the talent of the Titan again at the last moment. This effect will differ based on the Titan in play, but it can mean an extra minion or an extra action. Number 2 is the cleanest way to get rid of a Titan with surgical precision: Into the Time Slip. While Titans never go into your hand, this card would still force them out of play and off to the side. As of now, there are no cards that would make a Titan immune to use. This is extremely fortunate wording in that Into the Time Slip targets a card as opposed to stating minion or action, and the benefit is clear. For any Titan that has excessive counters or took too long to bring out, you can quickly eliminate the Titan. Best of all, you can use this on yourself for interesting effects. If you have a Titan who can be replayed immediately and has a powerful talent, you can use the talent, play Into the Time Slip, then replay the Titan. I really like this with Dagon, as you could have Dagon on a base with locals while your jumpers are on another base. You can play an extra minion with Dagon on the jumper base, play Into the Time Slip, then play Dagon on the jumper base and play an extra minion again. This is a perfect example of a card that is future-proof because it targets cards. But this combo consumes your action, which makes it a little harder to pull off a combo, which is why number 1 is so unexpectedly great: Cab over Pete. This action has a talent that lets you move a card you control to another base along with Cab over Pete, so it doesn't cost you your action, and it would let you move your Titan to another base. But this is also how you could intentionally initiate a clash you'd lose for an interesting effect. Like Into the Time Slip, you need a Titan with a powerful ability and an immediate re-entry criteria. You have 2 copies of this card, so you could potentially use Death on 6 Legs talent 3 times. On your next turn, one Cab over Pete can return the other to the Titan base, and then they can swap places every turn, netting an extra talent play each turn. Now, for this next point, let me say that I haven't yet received official confirmation of this, but I fully expect this to work. With Great Wolf Spirit, you can generate infinite power, and you only need a few things. If you're winning on 2 bases, which is not hard to do, and another Titan is on a base where you have less power, all you need is Cab over Pete and the minion I continue to naively believe is named after me, El Bandito. The Werewolf Titan can give +2 power to a minion. Then Cab over Pete uses its talent to initiate the clash. El Bandito uses his talent to transfer Cab over Pete back to its original base, and Great Wolf Spirit can be replayed, repeating the process indefinitely. If you have multiple minions, each one can get infinite power, and you can use the trucker abilities to move those minions anywhere, including the base where you were originally losing. The only part that's questionable is the definition of may use their talents in extra time, because it's ongoing, and I personally think that extra time is relevant to the persistence of the Titan. In other words, if the Titan leaves play and re-enters, an extra time is also refreshed because it is relative to a different card. There is a rule that states, When a card leaves play, there is no memory of its previous status, so that even if it is replayed in the same turn, it is treated as a new card, not the same card. Best of all, this really isn't that hard to do, and Cab Over Pete makes it happen, which is why it's number 1. In a game of card text, cards acquire new meaning when new ideas are generated, and that's what Titans have done for these cards. There are other cards that will indirectly increase in significance, which I'd love to discuss in the comments, so let me know your thoughts there. Thanks for watching, be sure to like and subscribe, let's shut it down.